here a little bit. Uh, Once we get a decent group of people going, uh, we'll talk a little bit about this winter storm we got rolling in the south. Uh, for starters, which I'm sure I'll have to say this a few times, I'm originally from Michigan. I'm from up north, and winter storms aren't really a big deal to me. I grew up with that. I know how to handle them and stuff. But a lot of people down south aren't used to it, and there's a lot of panic and stuff going on. And we'll talk a little bit about that in between working more on this Jeep YJ build, and we'll just kind of hang out for a little while today. We got a lot of progress done on this truck, and we're gonna do a little bit more. I'm gonna go over everything that I've done off camera. There will be eventually a full length video on this, and you can see the build process from there, excluding anything we do on the live streams, because obviously you'll see it. You'll be here to see it. So, what we're planning on doing, let me adjust the camera here a little bit. We need some good lighting here. I don't know what's going on with my lighting. A little better? It's a little better. I don't know, maybe we need to bring it down some. That's alright. Alright, so some of the things we've already started to do. Since this morning, I made some Jeep decals. I made them in the kind of a goldish color. I don't know if that comes out good on camera or not, but made them in kind of a goldish color. The first ones I made were a little too big. It was a little too big. But I wanted them to be the Sahara Edition Jeep logos. We're going to make some washes. I don't know what color I'm going to make a wash with yet. Probably some type of brownish, reddish, rusty color. And we're going to start doing washes and stuff on everything, like the hinges. I'm going to wash the logo a little bit. We got a few things to do as far as scaling goes. I'm probably going to wash the roof and everything, and kind of blend all that together. That is real rust. It's actually glued down, and we're going to make that look a little more realistic. Right now it just kind of looks like debris fell on the hood, but we're going to rust into the hood a little bit today, while we're talking about this winter storm coming up, and give some of the southern people some advice if they're new to winter storms, which obviously, I mean, personally, guys, if you live in the south, I would assume you've seen a winter storm by now. I mean, you should know sort of what to do. By all means, guys, drop comments. If you're from the north or if you're from the south, spread awareness, because I'm sure there'll be some people that don't know some of the common stuff. But realistically, here's for an example. Okay, I was looking at TikTok this morning, and there was a city council person in Texas telling people not to drip their faucets because they were worried about water distribution. And I'm gonna tell you guys right now, the city will not pay for your pipes bursting. So I'm gonna tell you guys right now, drip those faucets. Don't listen to that guy. That guy is gonna get himself in a lot of trouble when all these people have burst pipes and stuff from not dripping them. You have to drip your faucets. If it gets below freezing, you gotta drip them. Water expands, okay? Your pipes will burst unless you have frost freeze pipes, which people in the south, 9 times out of 10, people in the south don't have frost freeze pipes. Honestly, it should be a requirement at this point, because, I mean, the south keeps getting hit with these winter storms. It's almost every year now, guys. So maybe that's something to start looking into, is installing frost freeze pipes in your house, at least to an extent. I mean, eventually I'll get them installed in my house. I live in Arkansas, so I'm pretty far south, but I know how to handle these storms. It's not really a big deal for me. We're gonna drip the faucets. I'm gonna another, little small hack if you want to think about it. I'm sure if you live in the South, you go to Sonic, you get these styrofoam cups. You take a dish rag, wrap it around your outside faucet, and then just slide this on, and it should keep your faucet from freezing, at least on the outside. And then on the inside, obviously do a nice slow drip. It does not have to be running. I mean, we're talking like bloop, bloop, and just that little bit of a drip will really help your pipes from freezing. And what a lot of people don't understand too about their pipes freezing and stuff is the fact that what causes your pipes to freeze is rapid temperature dropping. And that's the thing, is that your pipes, if it's 50 degrees out right now, and it goes from 50 degrees to 20 degrees in the span of, let's say, 3 to 5 hours, that's prime freezing weather, is the rapid temperature change. That's what people need to pay attention to. If it's 50 degrees right now, you don't have to drip your faucets. But if it starts getting close to like 35, at 35 degrees, I would definitely start a slow drip, because right now I think we're projected to get down to, I think, 9 degrees by tomorrow. Right on, man. I love this truck. We've been working on it for a few months now. We got a few things done to it. I just put the number 10 on the license plates. I just put the Jeep logos on there just a few minutes ago. Got the little number 10 up there. We're weathering it. I gotta finish getting the roll bar wrapped. I got some fabric wrap that we're gonna finish wrapping up this with. The roof, I haven't even showed you guys the roof yet. The roof should be pretty cool. Let's get this roof on real quick, and we'll talk about the interior. Let's get this down in here. I have magnets on the roof, so I can take it on and off pretty easy, and it'll ride on there pretty good. Shouldn't be falling off. I got neodymium magnets on it, so they're pretty strong. It's actually kind of hard to take the roof off because the magnets are so strong. There it goes, just clicks down like that. Front's on. Ta-da! But we got some moss growing on top. Been working on that for a few days. I got to work on some color contrasts. We'll probably get that done today. We're going to start doing some washes and stuff. Right on, man. Yeah, and then we got this kind of stuff. If you don't know anything about these Mashigans, they have a lot of moving parts to them. They open. So the back opens, doors open, steering wheel moves, hood opens. Got the logo rocking in there. I don't think we're going to get to an engine bay before Beat the Creek, but you never know. We might. And if I do, that's going to be a whole challenge on moving those electronics somewhere hidden to where you can't see them. But, we'll get there. Which hopefully people can... Whoop. Camera about fell. Hopefully people can get tidbits, a piece of advice on this weather storm coming up. I don't want everybody freaking out and panicking or buying stuff they don't really need. You really don't need as much as you think you do for these winter storms. I mean, yes, the winter storm is going to be rough on people that have to go to work, but I'm willing to bet quite a few people are either going to call in or work's going to tell them not to come in. Damn. We got to get a different tire on this. This one is not a super scale tire. I am planning on getting some more of these BF Goodrich KO1s. This is the original style. This is actually the style from the movie. If you pay attention and if you look at screen accurate builds and stuff, they actually run the KO1s for a tire on there. So I got to get an accurate spare so that this'll fit on right. But we're not going to be totally screen accurate. If you know anything about Jurassic Park, the number 10 actually didn't even have a roll cage or a top. And I don't want to get rid of the top just because it's not screen accurate. I like the idea. This is kind of a different universe, number 10. You know, something that sat under a tree for 30 years or something while the park was closed is kind of the vibe I'm going for. We got a working winch. We got lights all the way around it. I'll probably plug in a battery and have the lights going here in a minute. But our interior, we got quite a bit work to do on our interior. I got to brush a lot of this moss and stuff. That's got to come off. And I just want a slight bit of moss around the edges. Just for some more moss continuity. You know, I don't want to cover the whole thing in moss. But we'll get to that. I'm going to start mixing up some washes and stuff, show you guys how I do that. And we'll just drop little tidbits of the winter storm info. Like I said, you know, just to help some southern people out that aren't used to the winter storms and stuff like that. If you're from up north, or maybe if you lived in the south your whole life and you know all about winter storms and stuff, drop it in the comments. You know, help some people out that maybe don't know what they're doing. Maybe they're just inexperienced with the storms. Like I said earlier, you know, I'm originally from Michigan. Winter storms aren't new to me. Doesn't really bother me none. Well, let's not start with a black wash. I'm gonna mix up a little bit of rust, and then we're gonna water it down. I make all my own rust colors. I don't buy you know, like the AK paints and stuff. I just mix all my own stuff. Let's where's my other brown? We got burnt umber. Burnt umber is one of my go-to colors for sure. Got some debris and stuff in there. Not that it really matters when you're making rust. The dirtier and inconsistent, the better, honestly. But about yay much burnt umber. This is all acrylic. Acrylic is just better paint to work with. It dries faster. This is bark brown. So we're going to mix some bark brown in there. If I got any left. There's a little bit in there. Little bit of bark brown. And then the important part, is this the right one? Engine red. Engine red. This is all satin or flat. We're going to do a couple drops of red. And then we're going to do, what is this? Harvest orange. A little bit of harvest orange. Only reason it looks like I know what I'm doing is because I've mixed this particular shade of rust quite a few times. Speaking of that, I need a decent brush. Mix all these up. And it should make a nice rusty shade. And then we're going to water that paint down to turn it into a wash. This is honestly way too much paint. I'm being a little wasteful right now. But that gives it kind of a nice rust color. I think we need just a drop or two more of engine red. I want a little more red on there. That's 2 drops right there. Got to be careful with the red or else you'll turn it into kind of a pinkish hue. But once we get our color mixed in good, then we'll start watering it down. All right, I think that's pretty good and mixed. Now we're going to turn that into a wash. Easiest way to turn it into a wash is just add water. But you want to add a little bit of water at a time. You don't want to go berserk with it. Just a smidge. We're just watering it down. acrylic and water take a second to mix together, but you just want to get your brush kind of watered down good. This is a lot of wash I'm making right here. Like I said, I'm being kind of wasteful with it, but we want it to show through. We don't want to cover anything up. All right, so I think we're about where we need to be. Let me move the camera so you can see what this wash is going to do. Right about there. All right, now, like I said, this is real rust. I took real rust from nails and stuff I'd been saving and just sprinkled it around and glued it down on the surface. And now, let's get this. There we go. Nice and watered down. And then we're just gonna carefully dab. Like I said, it's not supposed to cover anything up. You just want it to be a small shade. And we're just gonna tap and dab until we fill in some of the gaps here. We're just dripping the wash around, and we're just gonna dab it around. We don't want to cover anything up, but this will give it a nice rusty texture to it. We already got the texture in place. Now we just got to get it the right color. Hopefully it doesn't start to dry on me before I get everything on there. I probably could have used a bigger brush because I'm doing such a large area. I'm just kind of soaking it up, dripping it on there as we go. A little bit there. It's almost too heavy. You don't want to cover it up too much. If it starts to cover up, just kind of brush it away some. That's already looking a little better. Get a little dab in there. Well, that's a little heavy. Just smear it around. That's the thing about weathering is it looks like you're messing it up for like the first 2 or 3 layers. It really looks like you're destroying it. But after, you know, the 3rd or 5th or 10th layer, it just depends on how deep you're trying to go. But once you start getting the right amount of layers on there, then it starts looking really good. Nice thing about watering this down is it'll dry pretty fast. We'll actually do a black wash over top of this, an even lighter wash, just to kind of fill in some of the depth on this stuff. And just keep dabbing and dabbing and dabbing until there's nowhere left to dab on the hood, really. It's already starting to look a little better. The adhesive I used to glue all this rust down is model spray glue, and it dries clear, but it has a bit of a shine to it, and I didn't really care for that shine, so that's why I'm doing this wash over top of it, because I want to kill that shine so that it doesn't look artificial. Do a little dab there, dab there, dab there. I'm gonna go across this hood like this. See, like that right there, that looks terrible. That does not look good. But if you sit here and mess with it for a while, it'll slowly start to take shape and it'll look a lot better. This is one of those things that just takes a lot of patience. We even got some drip action going on right here across the side, which I'm okay with that as long as it doesn't get too dark. We don't want to add depth right there. Keep it light. Like I said, we're going to be adding a lot of layers to this. That's starting to look a little better. It's really hard to move forward on some of this stuff because you're like, man, that doesn't look good. That doesn't look good at all. But in my experience, you just got to keep going. Got to commit to it. See, right here, we don't got hardly anything over here yet. But we're just adding very, very light coats because we don't want to cover it. We're just changing the shade right here, filling in the gaps from the sprinkled rust. And we may change the shade. I may add some orange to that and change the shade up a little bit in certain spots just to kind of give it some contrast on the rust. Little dot there, little dot there, little dot there. You see how this is dark and this is light? That's what you don't want. So you gotta lighten this up by spreading it around. Try not to let it pool up anywhere. You don't want washes pooling up. And for the moss growth, we're gonna start painting green here in just a little bit. But the general rule of thumb is rust goes down, green goes up. So I'm painting up towards down with rust, and then with green, I'm going to start at the bottom and paint up with green. And that'll give it the right kind of contrast that we want. And that'll make it look like it's been sitting for 30 some odd years in the park. Kind of go around these hood pins a little bit. That's not bad for the first layer. I think we're gonna go a little bit across the grill here. Try not to make a pattern. It's really hard to not make a pattern. And then we're gonna lightly go down this little crack in the fender here. Just adding some contrast. Once we switch to a black wash, this will fill in a lot better. But that's a good start. We got to let that dry up some. And that should look pretty good. And then as far as I'm going to rinse my brush. And like I said, you see how much paint I wasted? That was ridiculous. I mean, I still have more to do. I guess we can do some more. We'll switch down here to the tail lights. I'll use that same color. I usually like to mix a lot of different colors of rust because when a vehicle rusts, it's almost never the same color everywhere. But something these old YJs did was they rusted right underneath the taillight here. So we got to be real careful. We're just going to do a bloop, little bit of rust right there. Dab it, let it run. That's not bad. Oh, you guys can't even see it. There. So we're doing that, and then we're actually going to dry that a little bit because we got a heavy spot right there. We don't want that. So we're going to take a sponge and just kind of dry that just a hair. And then I may even, let me rip off a piece of this foam. I just grab whatever kind of foam I can find because foam is really absorbent for this kind of stuff. We're just gonna kind of straighten it up a little bit. That brush was a little wide for this job, but that's the one I could find. That's a little better. We'll darken that up with a black wash over top of it in little spots. What's up? I'm gonna rust this tail light too, just a smidge. This one we'll try and be a little more careful with, because we got the jack right there. So we'll just boop, just dab it, just like that. Let it kind of guide it down a little bit. Like I said, it's gonna take. The nice thing about washes is one, you can just wipe them off because it takes a little while for them to dry, but you can build that up as much as you need to, versus if you just did this with straight acrylic, you kind of commit to whatever you're doing. So see, now we have a heavy spot right there at the end of our wash. We're just going to dab that with a sponge till it dries up some, because we don't want a dark spot at the end. About like that. And that just adds a little bit of depth to it. We're going to do the hinges. Like I said, I was going to mix a different color of that, but since I mixed so much of this particular color, we're going to go for a different look here. A little dab, little dab, little dab. Remember, rust goes down, brown goes down, green goes up, which we haven't switched to green yet, but we'll have some moss kind of coming up the fenders a little bit and whatnot. Because remember, if this thing's going to be sitting for 30 years, there's going to be stuff growing on it. Maybe rust these D-rings a little bit. Just a smidge. I am planning on building an exhaust system for this, and we're going to rust that out. I'll rust the D-rings just a little bit. I'll probably rust the axles and everything eventually, but I don't know if we'll get to that today or not. But got quite a bit started. That's starting to dry up now on the hood. That's looking better. Let's throw a battery in this, and you guys can see the lights. As we're getting there, it's starting to take some better shapes now. Alright, got brush rinsed off. Let's throw a battery in here. What's a good one? Need a good one. Give me a good battery. I still got to charge my LiPos up from the other day. I do have a full-length video coming out. Ooh, I don't know if I can open the hood while that's wet. I think I can. Maybe. I try not to smudge anything. Whoop! Come on. Alright, let's pop that in there. Come on. There we go. Let's click the radio on first. We don't want it trying to take off on us. There we go. We can get the lights going. There we go. Ta-da! Why are we not? Huh. That's weird. I think I lost binding on my controller or something. I don't know. Well, it doesn't seem to be taking off on us, so that's good. But yeah, we got... So, from the factory, I know you get these lights. I don't know if you get these lights from the factory. I honestly can't remember. I made a light kit for this, and I think I put lights there, and some tail lights. Yeah. Yeah, I made tail lights. It's been a minute. I've been painting on this for a while now. I haven't been driving it any. But yeah, we got tail lights, headlights. May eventually have dash lights. I don't know if I'm gonna mess with that. I don't know if that'll be ready by Beat the Creek. We'll see. But this is definitely gonna be my newest show truck for Beat the Creek. I'm gonna try my hand at some serious weathering. Try not to make it look like a spotted cow. But it's definitely showing some age. The windows, that was a little bit of a challenge to get that window look right. I had to mask this off and use some rust pigmentation and some mud pigmentation and spray adhesives, and there's quite a bit. Like I said, there'll be a full-length video of all this stuff coming out eventually once I've finished, or at least gotten close to finishing. We got to do some moss work up here. I think I'm done. Man, that's a lot of wash to waste, but I think I'm done with this color. Oh, no, I can put it right there. Let's try not to waste it. And go right on the whip antenna. Let's do a little dab on the whip. A little dab. A little dab. A little dab. Not like that. It's a little fat right there, so we'll take that sponge and shape it up a little. Dry part of the sponge. Sometimes it just takes a little bit of effort. We just dab it with a sponge all the way around. Add some of that there, and then we wipe. It's a nice thing about weathering is, yes, you can technically get it wrong. Don't get it confused. You can mess this up, but you have so many chances to not mess it up. And see, I don't really like how sharp those lines are on that. So we're just going to take our foam and just dab it. That kind of feathers out the rust a little bit. That don't look too bad. Looks better. Like I said, you want to, especially when you're working with washes and stuff, everything's real light. So you can go over it multiple times and do it that way. Like I have a little bit of rust and mud pigmentation sprinkled on top of the glass here. I'm probably going to do more than that because, I mean, I want you to be able to see through the glass, but at the same time, you got to think these windows haven't been cleaned for 30 years. They're going to be fogged up. They're going to be, you know, really caked on with either dirt or oil or some kind of grease, something, smudginess. I don't want to switch to the black wash just yet because this brown is still drying. So I think we can start doing green, some green washing, and kind of blend up the roof and blend up this moss growing on here. And then we'll take our dry brush right here and we'll clean up the seats and stuff and get that a little better looking too while we're at it. That should be good enough. By the time we're done with that, this brown wash should be dry, and then we can switch to a black wash and fill in anything we missed, and then possibly go to a different color like a brighter orange, or yeah, a brighter orange rust on top of that, and that should look okay. Let me go get rid of this. cleaned our little wash tray. I have that for my black washes. I usually do a black wash. Oh, you can't even see what I'm talking about. I have this cup for my black washes because I do black washes more than I do any other kind of wash. I think we'll do our green in this little container. I need to get like an actual art paint holder. But I try to do all this stuff on the cheap as much as possible. That's kind of my thing, is you don't need to spend a bunch of money to be in this hobby if you just get a little creative with what you're doing. So let's see, what's going to make a good moss? I've never done a moss, like paint wise, so I'm just going to wing it, and you're going to see me in real time mess this up. We have Kelly green there, and we have bright green. What color is bright green? Oh, that's pretty bright. Kelly green, I think, is a little darker. I haven't even opened this yet. Come on. Which, you know, if I make a mistake, you're going to see what not to do. So you're learning either way. That's the nice thing about it. Part of the reason I like live streams is we both learn together at the same time. So this is, yeah, that's definitely darker. We're gonna try and just use Kelly green because that's pretty close in contrast with the moss that I got on there already. So we're going to do about that. Just a little bit, and then water it down a smidge. Oh, I said I was gonna put it in that. Oh, never mind. A little dab of water, and then hopefully I clean this brush off good enough, and we're not gonna mix brown with it and make it even darker. I watered it down too much. That's okay. We're learning. All right, now remember what I said about green? Green goes from the bottom up, brown goes from the top down. So we are going to, me and my ADHD, I swear. I was gonna do that brown wash on top of this Jeep logo, but it'll be fine. We'll figure it out. Maybe maybe the moss grows up the logo. Maybe that's better. I don't know. We'll see. If we don't like it, we can wipe it off. So we're going up. Just kind of dabbing it along. And then to give this a little more texture, while this is still wet, and this could be a total wash, no pun intended, but if I don't like the way this looks, I'm just gonna wipe it off. So we'll find out. But I have this blended turf, so what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna crack the top off of there and just do that. Hey, that's not bad. That is not bad. Oh, controller. It kind of covers the Jeep up a little too much though, so I think what we'll do, kind of take our dry brush here, wipe that off. See what I mean about washes being really, really forgiving? You don't like it? Just take it back off. Now we got a little bit of green tint going on down here, and I actually kind of like that. That's a little nicer. I'm not quite focusing where I want it to focus though. There we go. All right, so I guess, I don't know. Let's try and dab some of that green wash on the roof and see how that works. See if that's a good idea or not. Hopefully, we'll find out. Hey, that's not bad. Okay, that's soaking it up pretty good. I kind of wish it was a little darker, but it's not instantaneous, so. Yeah, that's not bad. I'm okay with that. It's a nice little test spot anyway. Worst case scenario, I have to put a patch of brown down to cover it up, which we'll wait and see how good that's going to work or not. Otherwise, we're making a bunch of work for ourselves. I don't know. If I remember correctly, I think Kelly green dries pretty dark. I don't know. I'm not like a super big paint aficionado, but I want to cover up some of this shine going on, which you can't really see it on camera all that much. It's just me being picky. We're gonna make it real light. It's a little thick right there, specifically because the moss is just thicker there, but I'll put some patches of green in there. Not too bad. It's duller in person than it is on camera. I don't know why it's looking like neon green on camera. We got this moss here. Let's try and dab a little bit there. Give it a little more of a color pop. We're frosting the tips of the moss. That'll add a little color texture to it. Make it look a little healthier. It's getting darker as it dries, so that's making me feel a little better about it. I just have to be real gentle. Like I said, we're trying our very best not to make a pattern. I have a bad habit of doing figure eights, thinking I'm not making a pattern, and then I look at it later and I'm like, oh, you can totally see that I just did a bunch of figure eights on it. I'll stick very light on there. It's almost too much. Little dot, little dot, little dot, little dot. Kind of just do the outer edges. It's getting darker as we go, so that's making me feel better about it. Like I said, if I'm not happy with this color, all I really got to do is I'll probably mix a little bit of black in there or a little bit of brown and just kind of blend it in. Like, again, you can't really mess this stuff up. You can't overdo it, don't get me wrong, but I'm just kind of having fun with it right now. Honestly, could put a little bit more while it's still wet. Because that acrylic paint is sticky, so it's going to hold this in place a little bit. Help that fill in some. Starting to look pretty good. A little bit of color trash going on there. Let's see how our wash is doing. It's almost dry. We're almost ready for the next coat on that one. I need to do something with these doors. These doors are way too clean. Whoops, there goes my green. There we go. Yeah, those doors, the doors look brand new. I don't know why. I just hadn't gotten to them yet, I guess. I think when we switch over to the black wash, I'm just going to smudge all of this up with black wash and kind of just wipe it off, put it on, wipe it off, put it on. Do something like that. I don't know. Trying to be inconsistent, but yeah, that door just looks way too clean. It kind of stands out a little bit, especially against that hood. That hood's starting to look really good now. Now that that stuff's drying, we got a pretty good, I don't know if you can really see that or not, but that wash is adding a really good texture to it. What's up, Neela? Yeah, it's coming along pretty good. I'm trying to stay focused, but I keep switching back and forth between moss and rust. We got a bunch of moss growing on top of the hood, or on the roof, and on the hood. Probably do, I don't know, I kind of like the green tint that I made across here. I think we'll do more of that. Just wipe it off. Let it dry on there and then wipe it off. Little drop, little drop. Go on there like that. And then paint up. Let's say it goes up to the door here. About like that. And put a little moss on the steps. Oh, really got it on there on that side. Add a smidge of texture. I think we need to make that green just a little bit darker. I don't know, I'll let it sit on there for a minute and then I'll wipe it back off and see how it looks. And we got a little bit coming onto the door some. Not my intention to do that, but now we're going to run with it. And try not to let that green drip because it's not rust. Green goes up, rust goes down. I got a sharp line right there. We need to blend that out. And just go up this way. That's starting to look a little better. That kind of stick on there, make a mess a little bit. See, this has got kind of a hard line right here. And blend that in there a little bit. Just enough till it starts to dry, and then once it gets really close to drying, then we'll just wipe and smudge everything. And see how the roof is drying. That green's looking all right. I went a little heavy right there, so I need to kind of blend that out some. There we go. It's looking a little better now. Not bad, not bad. It's got a little ecosystem going on in there. Making a mess of our brush, but that's fine. We need to go back here. Add some more color contrast here. I'm gonna have this moss dust everywhere by the end of this. That's okay though. Totally fine with making messes today. Actually, we'll take a combination. Because see, that's way too bright right there. But it dries darker. But I'm gonna take a little pinch of moss, a little moss powder. I'm gonna let that soak on there, stick in where it can. I'll help it look a little healthier up there. This should be pretty close. Let's dry brush it off of there. It's pretty dry. I need a paper towel to get a little bit more off of there. See if that ages that door up a little more. That's not bad. Yeah, looks all right. It's got a little more depth to it now. Come on, camera, work with me here. There we go. Yeah, so now we just got the starting of some growth right there. The other side might do, yeah, I said I was going to do black on the other side. This side came out great. Like, it pulled up exactly where I wanted it to. I need to do a little bit more on this side, which I think I'll do the black on this side a little bit more. And then I will do black on this side. So I think, I don't know, are we done with the green? I think we need to add a little more green. Let's see here. The lighting can really trick your eyeballs sometimes. Let's go this way. Like I'm trying to pick my favorite color or something over here. I don't know, I'm trying to think how moss would behave if this was parked under a tree. I mean, the moss would generally grow in one direction or another based on the sun. So I'm trying to kind of fade it in one direction. I think it's starting to fade. It looks sort of like it. It's getting some depth going. That's not bad. Yeah. Let's spin it this way. Not bad, not bad. That looks pretty good. I need to blend in these angles just a smidge. I'm gonna take some more foam, a little bit of sprinkle on there. All the paint's wet, tacky. Some of this stuff will blow off later. Just kind of mix it together a little bit. Nice thing about sprinkling it is I'm getting it on the fenders and stuff too, which that stuff's probably not going to stick all that much, but that gives me kind of an idea of how this should look when it's done, as it should have moss growing up in different various areas. Yeah, it's starting to look inconsistent, which is exactly what I was wanting. We don't want to just add a bright green furry top. That's not bad. I kind of like that. All right, let's rinse our green off and then switch over to a black wash, which I'll use my little that cup for that. We'll let the green sit in there for now. I just got to rinse the brush. All right. Now, for black, for some reason I'm just better at making black washes. I don't know. I have more experience with that. Literally about that much. Just a couple of drops in there. And then a smidge of water. Whoop, that was way too much. That'll be fine. Check the consistency. Oh yeah, that's fine. That's fine. We can go haywire with that. That's pretty light. Oh. All right. This is all dry now, so now we can start black washing it. What we're gonna do here, this is just gonna be kind of a grime. I'm gonna try and get it in depth in there. Across the hood. Pretty much like that. Let's go a little past this. Getting that track right there. That should look pretty good when it's wiped off of there. Take a paper towel and just kind of dab the edges. Like I said, there's a lot of layers involved in this stuff. So don't be afraid to mess something up. A lot of people just don't get started on it because they're so intimidated by making a mistake. But I make mistakes all the time, and for some reason people seem to like it. So I just keep on going. I don't know if I'm going to do both sides like that because I kind of like the inconsistency of having one side with a black wash and one side with a brown wash. That kind of looks okay. That looks more inconsistent. I like the inconsistencies of weathering. Nothing weathers evenly. So that already looks pretty good. I'm not even going to wipe hardly any of that off. That blends pretty decent. I need to run that down the fender though. So you see this black line just kind of just stops right there, and we need to run that all the way down. So just dab that in there. And do the sides a little bit. Let's get that all going. Just a smidge. Gonna fill that up. Do that. I did say I was gonna black wash this door. I did a green wash on the other side, so we'll do black wash over here. It'll look like trash right at the beginning, and then once you start wiping it and adding multiple layers, then it starts to look good. I did not think I was good at washes, and I started really playing with it, and you learn a lot just from playing with it. Like you can get crazy with it. I can do this with a wash. That's why I said washes are really forgiving. You can pretty much do this whole door. I'm not going to say you can't mess it up because that looks like trash right now. So if I left this like this, it would look like trash. So you kind of got to know what you're doing a little bit. But that's what this video is for, is to just show you you really got to be brave when you're doing weathering and stuff, and don't be afraid to mess up. Let's clean the steps off a little bit. As that slowly starts to dry, we'll start wiping it off. That already looks kind of good. I'm not going to take too much off of that. I'm just going to keep going down the side here. Let me get a little dab. That was a little too much. Remember, I got some leftover foam right there that'll probably stick with the wash. It'll look like debris and stuff. And we're just going to do the black wash over the brown wash that we did, because the brown wash is already dry. It's actually looking pretty good already. I like that. And give it a couple of minutes to dry off. I don't want that depth right there. Black washes, you can kind of do whatever you want with them. Like this, like I said, this looks kind of trashy right now, but once we paper towel it, dab it a few times. I mean, these black washes, they don't take, especially with acrylic, it really does not take long. I'm just being very light with it. Trying not to make a pattern or anything. Whoop. Nice thing is I watered that wash down a lot, so I got time to really work on this. But essentially all I'm doing is just kind of smudging it, adding more depth to the door and the sides. Actually looks pretty good. Not bad. It's not coming out great on camera, but in person, let's see if we can get some lighting on there. You can see it looks grimy, dirty. That fender right there, that looks great. Looks like the paint's wearing off of it. Oh, I need to do a little bit of black washing in here and on the grill. Wasn't thinking about that. Get the grill here. Black washing, you can kind of do the same thing as rust and just start at the top and work your way down. there. And see, you don't want to let that pool up and sit there. You see those black smudges, those where it's built up right there? You want to get rid of that. So just dab that away if you can. There we go. Either a sponge or sponge, paper towel, something. Give it some kind of inconsistent look. It's definitely looking pretty grimy. Yeah, I really like the idea of having a black wash on one side and not on the other. Although, I do need to do this part of the fender with the black wash. Otherwise, that's going to bug me. Because you lose depth if you don't do the black wash. And I really like how that fender turned out on the other side, so I'm going to do it on this side. I just won't do it as heavy. So we'll go right here, black wash there, and up down the fender. Add some grime and grunge. So far, so good. And kind of run this down this door line. There we go. Perfect. I don't know if that came out on camera or not, but I just dabbed it right there and it ran all the way down the side. Perfect. And then it's coming down this way. If it's going to make it. Come on, make it. Make it. You can make it. Come on. You may have to put a little bit more on it. That should do it. Come on. Come on. A little more. A little more. A little more. Oh, oh, there it goes. See, pow. Whoop. And then we'll let that soak on there for a second. And do the headlight just to, or the side marker light a little bit. Right there. It's looking pretty good so far. Like I said, it only takes, I don't know, maybe between 60 seconds and 2 minutes to really let that dry enough on there. And like I said, anywhere it pulls up, you want to kind of get rid of that. Like right there. Right there. There. That's not bad. There's some grime going on. A little bit. I kind of want to do that whole door. I don't know. That door seems too clean. Thing's been sitting here for 30 years. I kind of want to just blah, 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 all over it. And we'll worry about fixing that later. Just let that sit on there like that. Give it, 60 seconds, 2 minutes max. I don't know. It depends on how you mix your washes. I mean, if you mix them really watered down, you can get away with a lot. Because see, like I have that foam ground up in there, so it's creating little pockets of dark soot and black and stuff, and that looks really nice. See this dark line here? We want to get rid of that. So just dab. Dab it away. Dab it away. Just break it up some. We got a dark line right here, but it's still too wet, and I don't want to take away from what I'm trying to cure right here. Like I said, acrylic dries pretty fast. But I think we're really starting to look good. Let's see how this black's drying on the other side. Yeah, that's drying pretty good. See, on camera, this door looks clean, but it's not, I promise. Let's see if I can I zoom in? Yes, I can. I can zoom in. There. That'll give you a little better idea of the type of grunge and stuff I got going on here. Like, we're not trying to just destroy the paint job, but we want to add grime and make it look old. Like it's been sitting for 30 years. Some days. It definitely takes a lot of patience to paint something and then take the paint right back off and then paint it again and then take the paint right back off. You see, we got a lot of grime and stuff on there right now, but we haven't started to wipe that off yet. I think it might be ready. Yeah. I'm not going to tell you there's no way to mess this up, because there probably is, but you just kind of have to be okay with whatever it turns out as. And then try and learn from it. If something didn't work out the way you wanted it to, try something different. I don't like straight lines in my grime. So like right here, let's kind of rub a little harder. I let that sit just a little longer than I should have. Because now I got a line. Okay, let's get rid of that. There we go. I got a little line right there. There we go. There we go. I don't like hard lines. We got a hard line all the way up here, which that's already been sitting here. Well, yeah, I'm zoomed in still. You can't see what I'm talking about. You see this hard line? I don't like that. That's personal preference. I don't like it. So what I'm going to do, first I'm going to see if I can rub it off. No, I can't. So if I can't rub it off, I'm just going to add to it again. Add to it again. Re-wet it. Kind of smudge it in there. I got a hard line all the way down this fender for some reason. All right, while that's still wet, take paper towel, go across there. Wipe that down. And there we go. Boom. Got rid of that hard line. For the most part. I can barely see it. So that's not too bad. And there we go. All right. Hopefully, you too, man. Hopefully you guys learned some stuff from me. What not to do, what to do, things like that. I'm going to get off here, finish my winter storm prep. I don't have much left to do. But drip your faucets. Do what you got to do to stay warm. Stay safe out there. Don't be going crazy on the roads. And I'll catch you on the next one, guys. Appreciate it. Bye.